I want to welcome everybody to the 37th Annual Texas Bluebonnet Award Luncheon. My name is Becky Calzada, and I am the chair of the Texas Association of School Librarians, and I'm honored to be here today with you. I want to begin by asking everyone to please silence their cell phones so that for the duration of the program. Thank you. At this event in years past, we've joined with student representatives from across the state of Texas to celebrate the many extraordinary authors and illustrators of children's books. Today, we are going to honor the most recent recipient, whom the children of Texas have chosen as the creator of their very favorite book from the 2016-2017 Texas Bluebonnet Award Master List. Before we begin, let's take a moment to remember all of our blessings. We are now going to give everyone some time to eat and enjoy each other's company before continuing the program. If you have requested in advance a special meal, please let your servers know in advance as they begin food service. Enjoy your lunch. Oh, and one last thing. I wanted to thank the Alamo City Roller Girls who are here today that welcomed you to come in. What an exciting extra today. Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy your lunch. I hope everyone's enjoyed their meals. If you are not finished, please continue with your meal. We're going to begin our program today by introducing the head table, and I'm going to ask that everybody hold their applause until everyone has been introduced. We're going to start to my right. TLA Executive Director Patricia Smith. TLA President Walter Betts. Hold your applause. Chair of the TASL Administrators Award Committee, Christy Starr. Gerald ISD Superintendent Dr. Bill Chapman, our 2017 Administrator of the Year Award recipient, who was still working this morning on that award on an admin panel. And representing the publisher of Roller Girl is Lori Hornick, Victoria's editor at Dial, an imprint of Penguin. Texas Bluebonnet Award-winning author and illustrator, Victoria Jameson. Yeah. I know, it's hard to not clap. I get it. And then I'm sitting right here, Becky Calzada, TASL Chair. Then I've got Texas Bluebonnet Award Coordinator Sharon Lawler, Texas Bluebonnet Award Youth Participation Chair Kelly Phelan, TASL Chair-elect Kate DePronio, who will succeed me after Saturday, and TASL Alternate Counselor Joanne Reed. This is our head table. Each year, the Texas Bluebonnet Award Luncheon and Friday's Children's Breakfast is co-sponsored by the Texas Association of School Librarians and the Children's Roundtable. I would like to take an opportunity to recognize the Children's Roundtable officers who are here with us today. Again, please hold your applause. CRT Chair Troy Lawrence, CRT Past Chair Nancy Joan Lambert, CRT Secretary Selma Flores, CRT Chair-elect Lori Kirksey, CRT Counselor Ty Burns, and CRT Alternate Counselor Jace Center. Though unable to attend, I would like to also acknowledge Naomi Bates, the TLA Executive Board Liaison for TASL, Janice Newsom, the TLA Executive Board Liaison for TBA and CRT, and Jennifer LeBoon, our TLA President-elect. takes a village to run TLA. TLA is always honored when our colleagues from the American Library Association attend our conference, and today we would especially like to welcome 3 guests from ALA. Again, please hold your applause. ALA President, Dr. Julie Todoro, AASL President, Dr. Audrey Church, and we also have 2 former AASL presidents with us today, Helen Adams and Sarah Kelly-Johns. Thank you to all of our guests for being here today. I'd also like to recognize Bound to Stay Bound Books. Yay! An exclusive TBA Luncheon sponsor, Bound to Stay Bound, is proud of their long-standing association with and sponsorship of the Bluebonnet Luncheon, TLA, and librarians across Texas. Now I would like to introduce Christy Starr, the chair of the Tassel Administrator of the Year Awards Committee, who will introduce this year's recipient. Christy? Oh, sorry. My 2 pages got stuck together. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. We're going to finish with Bound to Stay Bound. I had more to say. It's on a paper. Here today from Bound to Stay Bound is our Bob Seibert, President, Lori Smith, National Sales and Marketing Manager, and Texas Sales Managers Milton Van Dusen, my rep, who I love, Bill Tobin, and Greg Kaiser. Please join me in thanking them today. Besides thanking Bound to Stay Bound for their sponsorship, I'd also like to thank them for providing the beautiful baskets that are featured on our table decorations, or tables today. And additional donors for today's luncheon are also listed in the program, so I'd like for you to take some time to review them all. And when you are out in the exhibit hall, please be sure to thank our generous sponsors of today's events. We could not do today without them. Without the TLA staff and local arrangements committee, the TLA conference and the Bluebonnet luncheon would not happen. And this year's luncheon is another great example of coordinated teamwork, great coordinated teamwork. I am grateful to my fantastic co-chairs. Thank you to Carlin Gray, retired library director from Round Rock ISD, and Vanessa Ashcraft, library director from Gerald ISD. Their collaboration and their organizational skills were second to none, and I'm so honored to be able to not only call them colleagues, but also friends. Under their guidance, librarians from Leander ISD, Round Rock ISD, Gerald ISD, Northeast ISD, and many other librarians came in yesterday afternoon and spent hours to make sure that all of this was ready for all of you today. I truly appreciate their hard work. It takes many hands to pull this off an event this size. So co-chairs, TLA staff, and volunteers, please stand so we can recognize you today. Now I want to introduce Christy Starr, the chair of the Tassel Administrator of the Year Award Committee, who will introduce this year's recipient, Christy.
Good afternoon. It's my honor and my pleasure to introduce the recipient of this year's Distinguished School Library Service Award for School Administrators, also known as the Administrator of the Year. Serving on and leading this committee is such a joy because we get to read of all the great things that are going around in the state of Texas. We get to hear about administrators who value libraries, and the librarians on their campuses and their districts. The nominating librarians share how their administrators impact staffing and funding in their libraries. They tell us how they support the library programs. They tell us how they support policies and professional development, the campuses and the community cultures that they establish. We read about principals and library administrators. We read about technology officers and superintendents who make a demonstrative impact. This year's recipient is the superintendent of Gerald Independent School District in Central Texas. His library director, Vanessa Ashcraft, you heard her name just a moment ago, shared with us that Dr. Chapman has been instrumental in creating the vision for Gerald ISD's future-ready libraries. He has made sure that libraries are an integral part of the learning process. He started a summer reading program 2 years ago. He especially felt this was necessary since Gerald does not have a public library. The summer library program is open to those attending summer school as well as the community, regardless of age. He is constantly foreseeing different scenarios and how the decisions he makes today will affect campus libraries tomorrow. Dr. Chapman understands that we are educating students for jobs that do not exist today. He has made a commitment to provide all the students with some form of technological access. Those are just some of the many comments that they shared. Today, the Texas Library Association and the Texas Association of School Librarians honor Dr. Bill Chapman, Gerald ISD Superintendent, as the 2017 Administrator of the Year. Please join me in expressing appreciation.
If you use this, Becky, the pages don't stick together. I also have this to show my wife that I did prepare statements. She was afraid that I would not, which is probably quite true. I probably would not. You know, thank you very much for recognizing me with libraries. Libraries are very important to me for lots of reasons. I was that kid who loved reading. You recognize the Bluebonnet Awards, the Newbery Bells. I read those books. Those are the ones that still stick with me to this day. You know, I love to read. My mom was a teacher, retired for 35 years after 35 years of service. She instilled in me a love for reading early on. She's always has a book. My entire life, she read all the time. I mirrored that. She loves to tell stories of my kindergarten teacher coming to her and be so excited that I was the only child that could read and she taught me to read real early in kindergarten. My mom goes, "You didn't teach him to read." I taught him to read. He's been reading for a year. But she still thinks she taught me how to read, and that's great. But I would be in kindergarten. I went to the library in the classroom. I was the only kid there as I was reading the books. I fell in love with books and going to libraries, and my family made it a point to include reading and everything we did in those libraries. And I'm also very competitive. And so when I got to elementary school, and I was at Hickman Elementary in Garland, Texas, and the school was laid out where my classrooms were opposite the library. It had this wall of windows looking at this library, and I just wanted to go there and not to the classroom every day. And I was very happy to do so, but also because they had competitions in reading. And as much as I loved to compete in all the athletic fields that I did, reading was a whole lot more fun to compete in because I could just blow them away. And I just enjoyed those competitions to the point where I would compete at school, and I would compete in the summer reading programs at public libraries in 2 cities. My mom would, at both there, when I was growing up at my hometown, I would spend a lot of time with my grandparents in Commerce, Texas, and the Commerce Public Library always had summer reading programs, and I wanted my name on the top of that list. And if it was raining outside in the summer, I was inside just as happy, curled up in a chair and reading. I recall my grandfather never saying no to take me to the library. And I'd go to that Commerce Library in the old post office just off the square in Commerce, Texas, and I think I read every single Bobbsey twin book that Commerce Library had ever seen. They're probably still in there. Because it's still a small town and those things. I recall reading all through middle school, all through high school. You know, only librarian I recall from schools by name is Miss Cannon, who was at Toloso Midway High School for many years, who's a friend of my mom's. As a matter of fact, they're retired teachers together. And I remember Miss Cannon would always tell me when new Stephen King books came in. And she would tell me when they were there, and I would take them home as soon as I could get them. And I remember one night I stayed up, as bad as I was with everything else, I read it in one night. So it was all that the veracity of my reading came from my mom and just always being able to read and whenever I wanted to. My wife loves to tell the story. When we were first dating, we were in separate towns. I was teaching and coaching in Corpus Christi, Texas, and she was in Houston, and she didn't realize how much reading meant to me, but we went to a half-price bookstore one day when I was staying with her in the summer, and I got the entire Spencer series, and took them and bought them at one day and took them to her house. And so she was at work, and I was in the summer. I was off for the first time ever. And so she came home and said, "What did you do today?" I go, "Well, I read 2 books." And she goes, "You read 2 books?" And I said, "Yeah, I read 2 books." And she goes, "There's no way you read 2 books. People can't read 2 books in one day." And so she then grabbed the books and started asking me questions and quizzing me to ensure that I read 2 books and I comprehended what I read. And I was correct. I read them and I answered her questions, and she still gets mad about that. But it comes down to the fact that I got that learning. I learned to read, and I loved it. And that's what y'all do every day. And that's the important thing that y'all do is you help kids learn to read, and you help kids, more importantly, love to read and the power that those books hold. I still recall in my mind, I'm as ADD as they come in all kinds of areas, and my librarians will tell you every day how off the wall my brain goes. When I put a book in my hand, I hyper-focus. My mind goes away completely. I am oblivious to the world around me and my wife. She'll have to call me 2 or 3 times to get me to come out of that book, but that's how I've been since I learned to read. And that's why libraries are important to me in my schools. That's why I know the power that library can offer any kid, no matter what their background, that love for reading, the knowledge they can gain from that book or those books that they get from the library with the help of librarians every single day make a big difference. The only reason our libraries look the way they do, besides the fact that I have wonderful librarians, is I just wanted a place where I would have wanted to go to and be and read. And it's not the same old library they used to have. Now it's changing, but I just wanted my kids to go in there and have a place they wanted to be. And so that's become very important for us in our district. And I want to thank our school board secretary, Sue Laughlin's here. And Sue has been instrumental in driving the funding piece. I can ask for the positions, but the board has to approve them. And what Sue and our board members have seen is the difference that our libraries can make. Just so you know, we've grown 500 kids in 5 years in Gerald ISD. We had 3 campuses, now we have 4. When I first got there, Vanessa was the lone wolf librarian, and we had Paris. In 5 years, we now have a certified librarian at every campus because it makes a difference to us in our district. And the district and our school board wouldn't fund it if they didn't see the difference it makes. And so, you know, that's the main thing. Is I'm so proud of Vanessa and Holly and Jennifer who are here, and Gayla's not because, you know, she's going to be a grandma soon, so she has other duties at called, or she'd be here as well. And I want to thank the 3 of y'all for what you do for our kids every single day. We may have provided the area for the kids to come into, but those 4 ladies in my libraries make it places where kids want to be every single day. And that's what I ask of them, and that's what they do a great job of doing, and they keep kids in there. And I'm going to leave with one thing, because you gave a superintendent a microphone during a legislative session, and I'm going to tell you something. Okay, at the session this morning, they asked what's one word I could pass on to our librarians. That's advocate. And I don't just mean advocate for you with the legislature. Advocate for you and your campus community. Advocate for yourself and your library in your district. Advocate for you and your library in your community. And yes, advocate for you and your library with your legislators. We unfortunately have a time in the legislature where not all of them really like what happens in education. But I guarantee you at some point, they step foot in the library at some point in time and made them who they are. And they might need to be reminded of that, because they need to know what happens in your school and the difference you make in kids every single day. And please tell that story to them over and over and over. And 1 or 2 might listen to you, but that 1 or 2 can make a difference in the long run, because you do great things each and every day in our libraries, and they don't know about it. Make sure your parents know about it. Make sure your community knows about it. And by gosh, they'll figure it out sooner or later. But I want to thank y'all very much for this award. I'll get off my soapbox now. I could go on for a long time. And thank y'all for what you do every single day, and I appreciate this award greatly from the bottom of my heart.
Wow. I should have done that at the outset.
just set it here. What do you do?
We'll take one over.
Okay.
We'll take one over there.
Okay, sounds
Well,
good.
here,
We good? Thank you all very much.
All right, y'all get that charge? Okay. Change the slide. The Christina B. Wohl Memorial Fund Award, a grant to a Texas school or public library for collection development purposes, will be awarded this year to Bowie Elementary School Library in San Marcos, CISD. Librarian Priscilla Delgado submitted the winning application. Priscilla's here with us today. Priscilla, will you please stand? Yay! Congratulations, Priscilla, and the students of Bowie Elementary School. Now, Sharon Lawler, Texas Bluebonnet Award Coordinator, will recognize our sponsors.
Thank you, Becky. In addition to the generous support of Bound to Stay Bound and the publishers and vendors listed in your program, I'd like to recognize Kitty and Randall Heiss for their contributions to the travel expenses for our students and their families. Along with the endowment, allows parents to make the journey to the conference and enjoy the day with their family, with their children. I'd need to thank Paul Montoya, Pat Smith, and all the TLA staff who provide wonderful support to the Texas Bluebonnet Award. I also want to thank Cheryl Hensley and Shelley Lane for the time they share with students in preparing them for their role in presenting the Texas Bluebonnet Award. Each year, the Texas Bluebonnet Award is presented to the winning author by 10 children who represent the 10 library districts of Texas. These children also represent the 150,000 children who voted in January. The Texas Bluebonnet Award Endowment Fund was established to assist with travel expenses and ensure that any child could participate in the award ceremony regardless of where they live in Texas. If you would like to help bring these children to the luncheon, please fill out the form on your table, and if you have already done so while waiting for the ballroom doors to open, thank you. Your donation will go to 2 raffles. One is a set of autographed copies of the 2017-18 Master List. And the second is a beautiful quilt made especially for us by the Bound to Stay Bound staff. Bill and Greg are holding it up over there. It is my pleasure to introduce the very dedicated members of the TBA committees. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until I call all of the names. Kelly Phelan, Terry Harkey, Gail Shipley, Susie Grissom, Wendy Stewart, Ruth Cook, Stephanie Izana, Jamie Leroy, Allison Fitzgerald, Melanie Scales, Beth Lehman, Kate Steffer, Mary Milligan, Kelsey Wade, Kay Gooch, Layla Ellison, Jackie Bridges Shepard, Ryan Cannon, Molly Kyle. At the close of the conference, these members will join us: Jean Darnell, Leslie Baker, Jessica Silva, Julianne Bamford, Veronica McKay, Lauren Nalepa, Lori Laguna, and Zulema Bewley. Members of the Texas Bluebonnet Award Committee will now circulate among you to collect any raffle tickets or donations. We will take check or cash, please make checks out to TBA Endowment. Raise your hand if you would like to contribute, and thank you for your participation. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to introduce our TBA Youth Representative. From the selection drawing in November all the way to the author reception, which was held this morning, she is responsible for all of the important details required to bring the students to conference. Everything she has done ensures the students have a memorable time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kelly Phelan.
Excuse me. Librarians, publishers, author and illustrators, distinguished guests, and teachers who all have supported the Texas Bluebonnet Award Program. It is an honor and a privilege to be the Youth Participant Coordinator and to be a part of this exciting day. Last fall, I received over 200 applications from librarians hoping to share in today's event. It has been a wonderful journey working with the librarians whose names were drawn and meeting the students chosen to come to San Antonio. Please join me in welcoming the 10 student representatives from across the state who are here today.
Good afternoon. My name is Easton Stewart. I go to Snyder Intermediate School in Snyder, Texas. I am currently in 5th grade, and I'm representing District 1.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniela Costa. I'm a 3rd grader in Forest Elementary. I'm in Amarillo, Texas. I am representing District 2.
Hi, I'm Clayton Murphy, I'm from Martin Walker Elementary School in Coppers Cove, Texas. I am representing District 3.
Good afternoon. My name is Darby Phillips, and I am in 3rd grade representing District 4. Hi, I am Nicholas Rodriguez, and I am a 3rd grader at John A. Peeler Elementary in Dallas, Texas. I am representing District 5.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mercedes Lopez, and I am a 5th grader at Escondrias Elementary in El Paso, Texas. I am honored to be representing District 6.
Hi, my name is Kara Pogue. I'm a 5th grader at Remington Point Elementary School in Eagle Mountain, Saginaw Independent School District, and I'm representing District 7.
Hello, I am Micah McCauley, and I am a 6th grader at Colson Tough in the Woodlands, Texas. I am proud to be representing District 8.
Hi, I am Jadlyn Moreno. I am from Dupree Elementary in Lubbock, Texas, and I am very proud to be representing District 9.
Hello, my name is Carissa Martinez. I am 11 years old. I am a 5th grader at Colonial Hills Elementary, and I am honored to be representing District 10.
Let's give a round of applause to all of the participants. Okay, now Darby Phillips will introduce the winning author.
Good afternoon. My name is Darby Phillips, and I am in 3rd grade at Hallettsville Elementary. This year's award-winning Bluebonnet author, Victoria Jamieson, she has led a very interesting life. She was born in Havertown, Pennsylvania. At the age of 12, her family, along with 2 brothers, moved to Florida. No surprise, she wanted to work at Disney when she grew up. Luckily, she decided to take a different path. Actually, she took many paths from working on a cruise ship to being a tour guide. Eventually, she began working as a book designer, which led to her current career. She received her BFA from the Rhode Island School of Design and then went on to receive her Master of Arts at the Museum Studies at the University of Sydney. That's right, she's lived all over the world. Australia, Italy, and Canada. She started her writing and illustrating in 3rd grade with Super Cow, which was a hit with her teachers and parents. She went on to write much more successful books such as The Golly Whopper Games, Bee Rocks the Flock, Olympa Pig, Pest and Show, and finally Roller Girl. She currently lives in Portland, Oregon with her husband and her 2.5-year-old son. She teaches children book illustration at Pacific Northwest College of Art. She also makes time to enjoy her hobby, roller derby, with the Rose City Rollers, where she stars as Winnie the Pooh. She also has received numerous awards such as ALA Nominal Children's Book, School Library Journal Best Book, New York Times Bestseller, 2016 John Newbery Honor Book, and the 2017 Bluebonnet Award. And now Clayton will tell you about this year's award-winning book, Roller Girl.
I'm Clayton Murphy, a 5th grader from Martin Walker Elementary School in Coppers Cove, Texas. First, I would like to congratulate Victoria Jamieson for being the author of the first ever graphic novel to win the Texas Bluebonnet Award. Roller Girl is an awesome book about friendship, betrayal, deception, determination, transformation, and forgiveness, set against the backdrop of roller derby. Roller Girl begins with an evening of cultural entertainment for the main characters, Astrid and Nicole. Their previous ECEs have not gone well, but this time, well, who would have thought Roller Girl would be considered cultural entertainment? Astrid was hooked from the very first moment. Nicole, not so much. So for the 2 friends, a weird summer was looming. Can their friendship survive? After all, Nicole and Astrid have been BFFs since 1st grade, when Nicole saved Astrid from that rabid squirrel. When Nicole decides to attend dance camp instead of roller derby camp, Astrid becomes a master of deception, tricking her mom into letting her attend roller derby camp. Is it really her fault that Nicole bailed on her, making Astrid lie to her mom several times? How can Nicole betray Astrid attending dance camp with Rotten Rachel? Can she not see the awesomeness that roller derby camp is? What is she thinking? Wow, Astrid underestimated how challenging roller derby camp would be. Not just challenging, but brutally hard. At least she's good at one thing, falling. Astrid sometimes has second thoughts until the big confrontation with Nicole. Now she has determination not only to finish roller derby camp, but to compete in a bout. Good thing Astrid is getting help from Rainbow Bite, the local roller derby star. In a series of notes they exchange, Rainbow Bite advises Astrid about both roller derby and life. What do you do when your best friend abandons you? Astrid transforms herself into a cool, blue-haired roller derby star, but she doesn't get too carried away. No tattoos or actual piercings. Maybe later. She even makes a new friend at roller derby skate camp, Zoe, but it isn't the same as Nicole. And Astrid loses Zoe as a friend when she gets converted as a jammer position that Astrid worked so hard to achieve. So what is Astrid to do? After having a horrible summer apart, can Nicole and Astrid still be friends? Will the 2 tickets to the bout for Nicole and Astrid's arch nemesis be a start to earning Nicole's forgiveness? Will a hangar full of Hugh Jackmans let Zoe know that Astrid is sorry for her jealousy? In the end, Astrid puts on her war face and lives up to the roller derby name. Asteroid trying to be the best blocker possible, skating her heart out and crashing into the bout, literally. She hopes she has done enough for her team, her friends, and to earn back the trust of her mother. I like this book because we do not only learn about Astrid, Nicole, and Zoe. This book teaches readers all about roller derby. It is fun to see the names of all the roller derby girls like Rainbow Bite, which my mom said was a cartoon character from her childhood, which was a long time ago. Then there was Slay Miserables, Pandemonium, Thrill of Godzilla, Bacon Little Hearts, Scream Soda, and Brady Punch, which were some of my favorites. It was very interesting to learn how roller derby works. Each team has blockers, 1 jammer, and the goal is for the jammer to skate around the rink and get past the blockers to score points. The blockers are determined to prevent this. This book was great because it was a graphic novel about friendship and roller derby.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winning author is Victoria Jamieson.
All right. I have a tough act to follow. You presenters were amazing. Thank you so much. All of the presenters, you were great. Thank you. And as nervous as I was to speak, I just looked at them introducing themselves, and I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So you've given me strength and power. Thank you. And I think that's kind of the first thing I have to do when you're in a situation like this, which how often in your life does this happen? But thanking everyone who got me here to San Antonio, including my publisher, of course, the Bluebonnet Committee for including my book on such an amazing list of incredible books. I read most of the books on that list, and they're amazing. So thank you to the librarians who presented all the books and book talk, the Bluebonnet books, and just got kids excited about reading them. I saw the excitement and passion of the kids reading these books, so thank you. And lastly, thank you to the readers, the ones who are here today, and then the readers all across Texas who read the books and got excited about them. And no matter which book you voted for, you're reading your own books and forming your own opinions about them, and that's phenomenal. So this is not my first time in San Antonio. Oops, oh no. So when I was a kid, my parents' idea of a vacation was throwing the kids in the back seat of the station wagon and driving across the country. So we've been to San Antonio when I was a kid. I just texted my mom this morning. She was like, we tried to go to the Alamo, but we got lost. Your dad was on edge, so we didn't end up really staying at the Alamo. But if you had told me when I was 11 years old, and I'm 11 in this picture, if you had told 11-year-old Vicky that someday I would be back in San Antonio, and I'd be here to accept an award for a book that I wrote and a book that kids voted on, I think I would say, That's awesome. But I'm not sure I would have really believed you. I think because as a kid, I sort of kind of believed that books just magically appeared in front of me. I didn't know that people actually created them and wrote them. I think if you had told me when I was 11 that Beverly Cleary was a real person who wrote these books that I loved and lived in Carmel, California with her husband and twin children, not that I stalk her or anything, just know all these facts about her. But if I had known she was a real person, that would have blown my mind. I just couldn't believe that somebody actually wrote these books. And I came from a pretty booky background. My mom, kind of like I've heard other people say, my mom was a teacher. She was, at one point, an elementary art teacher. At another point, she was a children's librarian. So you see where I came from. Although my dad jokes that I actually got my love of writing and drawing from him and his career in middle management at IBM. But I did get one important thing from his career in middle management at IBM, which was, anyone remember this? For you kid presenters, along with Rainbow Bright, this is from a long time ago in my childhood. This was paper that you fed through the printer. It all connected in one large string. So every so often, my dad would come home from the office with this big box of paper, and my two brothers and I would just like pounce on this box like a couple of tigers, and like, "Rah, we want the paper." And he would always yell at us and be like, "You kids, this is for the computer, stop messing around." And even though he yelled, then he was like, "Oh, whatever, I give up," and just let us use the paper. And so my parents both made art materials and books accessible to me and my brothers. And this is where I wrote all my first books, like Super Cow and Dinosaur Disaster, on papers like this. So I think that's what I love most about the Bluebonnet Award. I think it kind of gives kids the same sense of ownership and excitement about reading. And I've had the pleasure of visiting quite a few schools in Texas this year, and I've seen the excitement that this award creates. I went to one school where kids had created their own campaign posters on the walls of the books they were voting for. That was fun. I've heard kids talking like passionately about their votes and the books that they wanted to win. I've seen like dog-eared like library books of the Bluebonnet books in your libraries. More often though, I saw empty shelves in the libraries. And librarians told me that's where the Bluebonnet books sit. They're just never there. And I think you're just giving kids ownership over their reading, and that's a really, really powerful thing. So just a few things about Roller Girl, a few quick words. A lot of readers and teachers and parents will come up to me and say, like, "Thank you so much for writing a book about a strong girl, a strong female character." And roller derby definitely gave me strength as a person. That's me. I'm not the jammer in this picture. I'm the blocker that's helping my jammer, giving her a whip, if you saw the movie Whip It. And people often didn't believe me when I told them I played roller derby. They were like, you're so quiet. Little you play roller derby. And it was just a way for me to gain confidence and gain strength. And I'm really thankful to roller derby for that. I saw the same strength and confidence in the juniors that I coached. I know, look at how adorable they are. They're so adorable, and what's more, they're fierce. Like, the girls that I coached were so strong and so self-confident. And I could have really used some of this confidence and strength in middle school, as I think you'll see why. So when I wrote Astrid as a character, I hoped, and I hope in Roller Girl as a book, that I show that she's not just a strong character because she's playing an aggressive sport, and she's doing full contact. But I want to show that she has a vulnerable side too. And I actually think the strongest thing about Astrid as a character is her full heart and the way that she loves her friends and her family so much so that it often manifests itself as anger or frustration or competitiveness. But I think that her strength really lies in her capacity to love. And lastly, I'd like to sum up by saying, I love when I hear from readers and teachers about their girls who relate to Roller Girl. And I love it just as much when I hear from teachers and parents and readers who say the boys love it too. And I'm so glad many of you teachers agree with me in saying, like, there's no such thing as a girl book or a boy book. There's just books. So I have a little boy myself. There he is. He's wearing some train tracks as like a 1980s aerobics instructor look. Don't know what's going on. But yeah, I can't wait until he's older and I can read books with him like Ramona or Anne of Green Gables. When he's older, I'll hand him The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, which I just finished. And I think I'll read these books with him and we'll talk about how maybe these characters don't look like you, but their stories are still worth listening to. And I think that's what you librarians do every day, and that's what you young readers are doing every day too. By reading stories that are about people not like yourself, or sharing stories about all different kinds of kids, you're creating understanding and creating empathy. And I think you're changing the world one book at a time. So thank you very much.
Daniela, who wins the books? Kathy. Lovely. Yeah, that's right.
Kathy Lovelane.
She's happy, huh? This is Marion Rocco. Wait a minute. And who wins the quilt?
Marian Rocco.
I hope they're here. Thank you, honey. You did a great job.
I want to remind everybody to please be sure to take time to visit the exhibits, while visiting the exhibits, to thank all of our sponsors of today's luncheon. And once again, thank you to Bound to Stay Bound Books for their generous sponsorship of the TBA Luncheon. We also appreciate the contribution from Mackin for the travel stipends, and we thank all of the table donors and door prize donors for their special gifts. And speaking of prizes, one of the best parts of TLA are the freebies. Nobody's noticed that, right? And the Bluebonnet Luncheon is no exception. The Roller Girl theme baskets made with the Van Dusen baskets will go to the person today whose birthday is closest to Victoria Jameson's birthday. And her birthday is on January 10th, if I'm not mistaken. So if your birthday is closest to January 10th, you win the basket. Y'all have to duke it out up here. Okay. But there's still more prizes. This year, our wonderful door prize committee, Emily Gardner, Emily Cooperstoch, and Dana Collings, have been working tirelessly to acquire the fantastic collection of door prizes. Ladies, will you please stand to be recognized? We appreciate your efforts, and they're going to be down here passing out prizes in just a minute. They have prepared a slideshow with names of our door prize winners. If your name appears on the slideshow behind me, please be sure to go to those tables to the left of the podium to claim your prize. Now, some instructions about the author signing. The publisher has brought a limited amount of our winning title, but they've also brought along advanced reader copies of Victoria's next book, All's Fair in Middle School, which debuts in September 2017. Thank you for that. This is a special sneak peek for Texas, so just want to put that out there. At this time, Victoria, you may head over to the table while I share information about our process for getting books signed. First and foremost, we need everybody to please remain seated until all the instructions are shared, except for our author and publisher. Everyone who purchased a luncheon ticket can get a book signed. If you are not staying for the signing, you may exit the ballroom after this announcement and the door prize winner PowerPoint. If you are staying for the signing, please be aware that we want everybody to be orderly and not rush the signing line. When it is time for your table or row to move to the line, please take your luncheon program with you to show that you purchased a ticket, and the volunteers will let you know which rows are lining up. For those who came only to hear our speaker and did not purchase a luncheon ticket, please remain in your seats and wait until everyone who has purchased a luncheon ticket has gone through the line. And if there's still time after this, you may line up to get your book signed as well. This concludes the 2017 Texas Bluebonnet. Oh, wait, one more thing. I forgot one thing. We had some extra bags with donations, and so we thought it would be a great idea. We have a limited amount, not enough for everybody, but if you have maybe a teacher you would like to take home a special bag for that you know maybe would appreciate that, we're going to ask, you can pick those up on your way out that way. This concludes the 2017 Texas Bluebonnet Award. Thank you again for coming, and enjoy the rest of your conference.